I'm gonna cut your head off. See if that works. X-Men Origins Wolverine stars Hugh Jackman, Liev Schreiber, and is directed by Gavin Hood. So guys, I'm not gonna lie, after Deadpool, I've been in an X-Men Wolverine type mood lately, and I wanted to watch some of the movies. And the first one I really wanted to check out again was X-Men Origins Wolverine. And I'd say besides X-Men 3 The Last Stand, Origins Wolverine really gets a bad rap. And it does have some problems. But after re-watching it again last night, I really don't get it. I think this is a really fun movie. Yes, it does have problems, but it's definitely not the worst comic book movie ever. And really, Hugh Jackman kicks ass. So let's get into this review. I think after the first 3 X-Men movies, I think people were really eager for a standalone Wolverine movie because Wolverine is one of the most beloved comic characters, not just X-Men, but of all time. Everybody loves Wolverine because he's just got so many really cool characteristics about him. And he's got one of the most interesting backstories, I think. And I really enjoy that opening sequence, how it shows, Wolverine when he's a child, and then we see him going from war to war. And this really showcases that this guy is immortal. He pretty much lives forever. He doesn't age. And that is a really interesting aspect of a comic hero. This is a guy that has lived for literally hundreds of years. And once the movie settles in, we find Wolverine, and he's with this mercenary group, and they're on these secret military missions. They're doing a lot of things that Wolverine or Logan doesn't really agree with. And so he parts ways with this group, and he just wants to make a life on his own. And this section of the movie, I kind of called the Incredible Hulk section because it feels like that old television show from the Incredible Hulk, where he is in hiding, he's got a family set up, and he just wants to be left alone. He doesn't want to be bothered at all. But William Stryker is on the lookout for Wolverine because he has this whole Weapon X program, and he needs Wolverine to basically be a guinea pig for the program. Because Wolverine is the one guy that has healing powers. No matter what you do to the guy, you can't kill him. This is even before we get the adamantium into his body. And let me just talk about that scene for a minute. I love the way that scene played out. I love the way it's shot. And I love that Stryker tells Logan, hey, you're gonna go through more pain than you've ever went through in your whole life. And that really just sets up how dangerous this procedure is. And I love how they show the needles going into him, and the adamantium is just rushing through his body. And even under the water, Logan, he overhears Stryker's ulterior motives, and that's when he jumps out of the water. Really freaking cool scene, by the way. And he escapes. And so from this point on, Stryker, he sends Sabretooth, who is Wolverine's brother, to hunt Wolverine down. And like I stated earlier, I think X-Men Origins Wolverine does have a lot going for it. First off, I really enjoy the story. It's a really convoluted story. There's some twists and turns throughout, and it keeps you interested throughout the whole thing. And also, I love the villains in this movie. I think Wolverine is one of the few characters in the Marvel universe that has the most interesting villains. And this has 2 of them. This has Sabretooth and Stryker. Now, if you watch the first X-Men movie, Sabretooth isn't interesting at all. He's really just Tyler Mane from Halloween, and he doesn't really talk. He's just on the hunt for Wolverine at the beginning of the movie. But the Sabretooth in this movie, I think, is really, really interesting because of Liev Schreiber. Schreiber is just such a great actor, and he's kind of reminds me of Dustin Hoffman a bit in the way he talks and the way he delivers his lines. And Liev Schreiber really took this role seriously. He actually gained, I think, somewhere between 20 to 30 pounds of muscle specifically for this role. They wanted him to wear a muscle suit, and he said, no, I'm not doing that. I want to actually gain the weight, come back, and then shoot my scenes. And that's what he did. And he really looks like a freaking beast in this movie. No pun intended. But I love that whole relationship between Sabretooth and Wolverine. They're these brothers, and you can tell that there's some love there, but they're just constantly battling it out because Wolverine has a conscience. Yeah, he's an asshole, but he has a conscience. Whereas Sabretooth, he is a stone cold killer. And he's an asshole to boot. And then also Stryker. Stryker, to me, in the whole X-Men universe, is one of the most interesting villains. He is this military guy, and he is obsessed with this whole Weapon X program. And throughout the whole series, he's obsessed with Wolverine. And I really like that whole relationship between Logan and Stryker. And one thing I love about Stryker is, A, he doesn't have any superpowers. He's kind of like Lex Luthor in a way. He will lie and cheat to gain an advantage, to reach whatever his end goal is. Also, yeah, Ryan Reynolds is the perfect Wade Wilson or Deadpool, even though the character Deadpool is really not in this movie, even though Stryker does mention Deadpool. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here because this is a story that's really taken directly from the comics. But there was just this huge outcry because there are so many Deadpool fans and they wanted, the actual Deadpool. But in the movie's defense, this isn't a Deadpool movie. They were using that storyline of the comics, and Deadpool just happened to be a part of it. Now, they do make some minor changes. They ignore the whole cancer plotline, but really Stryker is just wanting to use Deadpool as a guinea pig after Wolverine escapes, and that's what happens in the comics. Now, do I wish that we could have seen the, Deadpool in the red suit and all that? Of course, yeah, that would have been great, but did it bother me? Not really. And plus, at the time I saw this movie, I knew of Deadpool, but I wasn't like this diehard Deadpool fan that I consider myself now. Now let's go into the cons of this movie, because it's like I said, it's not a perfect movie. One thing is the CGI is pretty bad, especially with the claws. It's funny because the previous X-Men movies, the claws were just fine, so I don't know what the problem was with this one. Also, I thought a couple of characters were kind of forgettable, especially the Blob character. I kind of found him annoying. Really, I'd say about half of the mercenaries were kind of throwaway characters. The ones I really liked were Wolverine, Sabretooth, Wade Wilson, and of course Gambit. I thought Gambit was a really cool addition to the movie, but they didn't really explore his character that much. And also this movie does have some of those cliche cool guys walk away from explosions type scenes. And I remember the helicopter scene. I really did bust out laughing when, you see Wolverine walking away from the helicopter and it explodes. But overall, guys, this is definitely not my least favorite X-Men film. There are a lot of great things I like about it. And I think a part of that is because I'm a huge Wolverine fan. And I thought, as a Wolverine fan, this did have some really cool moments. So for that, I'm definitely going to give X-Men Origins Wolverine a purchase worthy. I think if you're a fan of the X-Men franchise and you're a fan of Wolverine, you could probably do a lot worse. So guys, what are your thoughts on this movie? I know a lot of you probably hate this movie, but I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions. And also, what's your favorite X-Men movie? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Drumdums. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and Drumdum out.